Hi folks, Skip here from Woodworking UK. Welcome back to another episode of Skip's Tips. Now, I've had a few people over the last couple of weeks asking me about transferring images onto wood for freehand routing. So I've got three main methods here that I'm going to show you each one now and let you decide for yourself which one's best. So first method is the one I started off using, and it's the simplest method in my opinion, to be honest. These numbers are probably going to show backwards because I'm using the front camera on my phone. But basically, paper template printed off any paper, Pritt stick or other glue stick. Literally just daub it all over the back, stick it to your wood. Make sure you cover all your wood. Don't just do around the edge, because obviously once you start routing through it, it's gonna come away from your wood. That's simple. Stick it on there, stick it down, it's ready almost instantly. Literally, as long as it takes you to put a bit in your router, that'll have gone off enough to get your router and go over that. Now, this is the simplest in my opinion, and it's the one I still use for big stuff like this. Anything, I think this font's size 200 that I've printed off of Microsoft Word. Anything this sort of size, or even sort of size 100 maybe, I'd do this method just because it's quickest and easiest. But it does have its downsides. Once you start writing through it, you get little furry bits on the edges of your paper, and they can, you know, nudge the edge of your router base. So it can be awkward to go over the furred up bits. But the bigger the letters or the picture or whatever it is, the less detail there is, the easier this method is. This is my go-to method for most things, to be honest, just because it's dead easy and dead simple. Okay, so method number 2 involves this. Carbon copy paper. Lay that down with the ink side down on your piece of wood. Take your paper template, just print it off. Lay it over it. And simply use a pencil or the end of a pen or something just to go over the lettering yourself. This isn't a method I personally use, but I know a lot of people do, and a lot of very good sign writers do. I think John Wheeler uses this method. I know Sam Blakey's told me he uses this method sometimes, and it works well for them. Obviously, different things work well for different people. This isn't my method, but I know it's a method, and I know it must work well. So I thought it was worth showing you. Literally, just trace over all your edges. Obviously, if it's little text, you don't need to do the edges. You can just go around the letters, but these are quite chunky letters, so you go around the edge. I've not really took my time with that, but you take your time a bit more. Lift it off, and there you are, look, it's transferred over onto the wood. Grab your router, off you go. That's your second method. Now, your third method of transferring an image is my, well, I said the Pritt stick was my go-to method, but that is my go-to method for stuff that's not too detailed, so the paper furring up around the edges ain't going to matter. This is my go-to method for stuff with more detail. Obviously this ain't got a great deal of detail, but this is just an example. What you need is a laser printer for this method. So there are ways of doing it on waxed paper and such with a laser jet, but I've personally not tried them. Seems like a bit of a faff to me, but to be honest, I've got a laser printer anyway, so I wouldn't try that. But that's laser printed, and I'm not sure if that's going to be coming out backwards or what, because I'm using the front camera here, the front camera on my phone. But that is actually printed in a mirror image, so you have to print your number flipped. It's dead easy to do. If anybody needs to know how to do it, I can explain how to do it in Word. If I can do it, anybody can do it, because I'm useless with computers. But basically, you print your image mirrored to what you would normally see it, so it's backwards on a laser printer. Then you would on this is the only method really where your wood needs to be really sanded fine. I'll take it up to about 400 grit, but I mean even more than that won't hurt, but 400 grit's enough. But it's all got to be nice and smooth for your best results. Lay that down face down, just secure the top there with a bit of tape, a bit of masking tape or a bit of duct tape, something like that. Fold your image back so then you've got a, so you can lay it down flat like this. And then what you need is some of this cellulose thinners. Now I bought this from a local motor factor's shop. I use it for thinning car paint. This was £5.99 for a litre, and that litre will last you forever. You don't use a lot. I use this all the time, and I've had it months, and it's still half full. You want your windows and your doors open for this, because it's a bit pungent, this solvent. But what you do, put some on a rag, even dribble some on your wood, a little bit there. Make sure your wood's nice and wet. Put plenty on. You don't want it swimming, but it needs to be plenty of it on there. Just dribble a bit more on there. That's it. Right, plenty on. Then fold your, missed a bit just there. Just make sure it's all covered. Fold your template back over, and then wipe it over with your cloth, and straight away you should be able to see that, how that paper's going translucent there. You can see it through, look. Give that a good press down with your wet rag. Hold your paper when you're doing it. Sometimes, because of the solvent, your tape might let go. So just hold it firm, wipe that down, and then what you need is a smooth blunt object. I use the back of an old spoon. Old spoon. Put pressure on it, and what you need to do is just rub over all the image with the back of that spoon. Plenty of pressure on it. Make sure you hold your paper in place, because it has got a tendency to let go. I say that this thinners gets underneath your masking tape, and it can let go sometimes, so hold on to it. This method, incidentally, was shown to me by Jonathan Whittaker. I'm sure you've seen him knocking about in the Facebook group, if you remember, and he showed me how to do this on his YouTube channel, so I'm not going to take the credit for it. Then peel that back, and as they say, Robert is your mother's brother. Sorted. So there's 3 methods. Give them all a go. See what you think. Like I say, sticking down with Pritt Stick, dead easy. To be honest, I've found the cheap. Hold on, let's bring you back up. Cameraman's getting a shaky arm. There we go. The cheap, what they call glue sticks, aren't so fantastic. It is worth buying Pritt Stick or the yellow one. I think it's called Yoo-hoo, the Yoo-hoo stick. That's what I used before, and they're the best ones. Like I say, that's probably the easiest, but if you're a beginner at freehand writing, to be honest, them little bits of bird paper that come up can get in your way when you're trying to move your writer. So, you know, try them all, see which works best for you. There's no major outlays for any of them. I mean, the most expensive thing is probably the thinners, and that was, there you go, little plug from our local car shop, £5.99 for a litre. You might be able to, you get it from Alfred's. You can probably get it online. I don't know, delivery might be a problem. It's got pictures of dead fish and trees and stuff on it. I don't know if they'll deliver that, but you can pick that up in any motor factors. So they're the main methods I use. Try them out, see which works best for you. Thanks a lot, folks.